Been had the opportunity to go through the ID program. We take the children's fingerprints with an electronic fingerprint detector. It's all digital. We take pictures of the child's face and the side of their heads. We get down pertinent information. If there's anything with any particular blood types or birthmarks, this all goes into the CD, and the information goes home with mom or dad or grandparents. And you keep this in your wallet or your safe, and you have a little ID picture, and you say, well, what in the world would I use this for? Let's say you're out at the mall or the county fair or wherever, and somehow you get separated from this child. You have an instant piece of data here that you can show somebody, that you can give it to the police department or whatever, and they have all the information on this child. And what a good feeling that is to be able to find that child very quickly. Okay, let's see. What else we got coming up here? I just wanted to tell you a little bit about an event that I was a part of last weekend. Mentioned the Gilmans here in folk music. My musical partner Bill Drell and I, we were asked to play as part of a big venue. 61 different groups did something in Jamestown last week, excuse me, and we were all over the place. I was at the Labyrinth printing press company down. It was sort of like going to the Cheers down below the street level, and we played our Irish music, but it was just like a standing room only kind of a room. But people were going from venue to venue to venue, and from what I understand, they raised $8,000 for Infinity. If you're not familiar with the Infinity project, it helps young people get into the arts and music and drama and poetry and so forth. And so it's a great program, and we were able to be part of that. So keep your ears open for Infinity. There's young folks out there performing in various venues. Really good time. Okay, we're going to take a little breather here. Jeff came up with this really neat picture for just kind of a morning meditation. Just think about it. It's really a pretty picture. And when we come back, I'll introduce you to our guest, Helenbaran. Hey, Jeff, this is for you, buddy.
Is there any water?
Are we going to have that meditation? There it comes. All right. For that great picture. You know, as I was sitting there watching it, you know, you just can't help but like where we live. I mean, I know we talk and complain about the snow, but you know, that's only a short period of time. Look at how beautiful it is out today. And that picture reminds me of how many times we look up in the sky and see the designs that the airplanes have been making, or even the cloud formations. They're just outstanding this time of year, especially. Last night we were looking out from where we live on the escarpment, and you can see Canada in all its brilliance, the lights flashing and beautiful clouds and so forth. Well, enough of all that rambling. Today we want to focus in on a particularly favorite topic of mine, and it's near and dear to many of our hearts in the West County especially, and that's the Westfield Memorial Hospital. I have the opportunity to serve over the last few years on two boards with the hospital, but primarily with the main board now. And we've gone through some interesting times, and I thought that it would be really important to get the spokesperson from the hospital, from the board, to come down and let everybody know what's going on, because there's some misunderstandings of where the hospital's at and what it's turned into and not, and so forth. And so, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Helenbaran, fellow board member, chairman of the board, and friend of mine. Good morning, Helen, and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you, John.
Well,
Thank you.
Helen, I was thinking on the way over here today, I said, well, how long have I known Helen? Well, Helen and I also are in Rotary, so I could say, well, I've known you since Rotary days, but we actually go back, I think, to late 90s, somewhere in there. And I clearly remember one of the things that stuck out of my mind about Helen, and you'll see this throughout our discussion today. We were at a meeting, and I won't tell you what organization it was, but we were at a meeting, and Helen says very, very succinctly, well, if all we're going to do is meet, I have better things to do, and kind of laid it out there. And that's how I think of Helen. She's a mover and a shaker, and near and dear to how I feel about things, and that's what she gets done. So Helen, tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into the hospital doings and what you're about, because maybe not everybody knows who you are.
Well, I live in Westfield on a big grape farm that my husband and I own and operate, and we start grape harvest on Monday.
I told you I could smell the grapes.
Countdown is there. On your comment about the beautiful day today, there's no better place. There really isn't than Chautauqua County. It's absolutely gorgeous. I've been involved in volunteerism all of my life, really, and I was raised that way, and our children saw that at home, and I'm proud to say that they also carry that on. That's what makes a community good. But I'm very involved and have been since the 1960s with a hospital. And a long time ago, Chautauqua County had a physician recruitment program.
Okay.
And I was on that committee. Some of the doctors that are here now were recruited in the late 60s, early 70s.
You know, for those of you that live near the bigger communities, for instance, Ripley, we actually had a big drive, I don't remember what it was, maybe 10, 15 years ago, to get a doctor in our own village. I mean, that seems hard to believe in this modern days, but it's tough.
Well, it's going to be, I'm hoping, a little bit better, because with healthcare reform and all, there's more of an incentive for physicians to go into family practice. And actually, I had a wonderful experience the past 4 weeks. We have, I handle the rural rotation for the University of Buffalo.
Oh, that's right.
Third and fourth year medical students.
So these kids are coming, these adults, these doctors to be, are coming from Buffalo down here?
Yes. And then we have physician assistant students from Duville and Damon College. So this week, I was pleased to meet Brian Sandler, who is a fourth year medical student. And he stayed in our area. He's committed to rural family medicine.
Great.
He did a rotation with Dr. Burke's office, wants to come back and do some more, although he'll be interviewing for residency programs, and I'm hoping he gets accepted into the University of Buffalo residency.
Nice.
And Brian he's actually from the Catskills, a small 600 town with 600 people, but really relates to the area. We have another young man coming in who's another fourth year who's been here during a third year, and he'll be here in October.
Great.
So we have a constant rotation of at least 3 students with PAs and medical students, but it gives them a real flavor. And on the 30th of this month, we'll probably have about 15 second year coming down for a tour of the area and of physician offices, and just to get the flavor. And because I guess I say Chautauqua County has a real flavor for rural people, and these city kids get a chance. You know, I've had kids come from Midtown Manhattan, and one of them,
culture shock.
Called me like at 4 in the morning. What do I do? What do I do? And I said, what's the problem? And he said, well, the siren's going off to evacuate. I said, no, that's the volunteer emergency squad. Go back to bed. And this is the same kid who, driving over the hill to Mayville, couldn't believe that he saw sky. Well, in Manhattan you don't see sky, you see skyscrapers. That's right. So, you know, you have some interesting concepts, but we're using these students in the offices, and in downtime they got to do some time with Dr. Fitzgerald, the orthopedic surgeon, and they can be in the emergency room too, observing the emergency room doctors.
You know, that's the side of all of this that we don't even realize, that's the process of becoming a doctor, or any professional area, is that you do this shadowing, or you do internships and things like that. And so what a great opportunity. Now, just as a reminder to our viewers right now, we're live, and we are welcoming your phone calls throughout this program today. And there's the number, as you can see, 753-52225. And we'll be happy to talk with you. And if you have some questions for Helen or myself, or you have an announcement, a birthday, anniversary, or whatever, just give us a call. Okay. So you got this going on, and that's just one little piece of what you're doing.
Well, yeah, and then I'm the president of the Concord Grape Lake Erie, or the Lake Erie Concord Grape Heritage Association, and
That's a mouthful.
we are the ones that are promoting Concord grapes. We are promoting the area from Silver Creek to Harbor Creek, Pennsylvania, as the world's largest Concord grape growing area and the oldest. And we expect to open the Discovery Center in Westfield next spring. So that's been a real exciting enterprise.
And then, folks, it's the old Ford dealership, right?
Right.
On Route 20, just coming between Westfield and Ripley, on the left if you're going towards Ripley. And I had the opportunity to be the entertainment for the open house this past year. It's almost been a year now, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
And it's absolutely a gorgeous facility. I can't wait for it to open. It's going to be great. It's going to be like
I can't either.
museum and hands-on and all that. Oh, I bet.
Right.
So
And-
how's that coming along?
It's coming along. We're in the design phase for the cabinetry right now. We're constantly in the money raising
sure.
because it's a $2.5 million project. And a lot of people keep asking me, when are you going to open? And I keep saying we have to raise more money.
Yeah.
But thanks to Senator Kathy Young, who has been the real sponsor for this, we're moving ahead. And I kind of like to segue back to the hospital on that too, is that most of you realize that a few years ago, the Berger Commission recommended that Westfield downgrade or downsize. And although that was traumatic, we realized that this time it was serious. So the end result, well, how this came about is we had a governor that was going out of office, who the legislature passed the law that they would downsize hospitals in New York State, and then the governor's term was up, and the incoming governor was left to enforce this law.
Now we're talking from Pataki to Spitzer?
Yes.
Okay.
So
We've had a little change in there.
yeah, we've had a lot of changes, but the incoming governor had no way of overriding this law.
Okay.
So we had to mount a campaign, as we had in the past. We had to say goodbye to maternity, which was not a happy thing, but in order to survive and serve communities, we had to do that. And the end result was that we were allowed to keep 4 inpatient beds, which is, that's something. And the other result is that we had a firm alliance now, an absolutely legal one, with St. Vincent Health System in Erie, which is a tertiary facility. So if you come to our emergency room with a problem, the specialist, the cardiologist and all, are just a step away on a phone. And the helicopter can take you if you have a problem. But these emergency room physicians are there to take care of you. St. Vincent's is a tertiary center, and an announcement was just made a couple weeks ago that St. Vincent has signed a collaborative agreement with the Cleveland Clinic.
Wow.
So
now Westfield is connected to Cleveland.
they will be, definitely. And the first 2 modalities that are coming about with that are cardiology and neurology. And neurology is something that's really needed.
Okay. Let's do a little terminology clarification here for
Okay.
myself and the viewers. You said tertiary. That's a great word, but what does it mean as far as hospitals? And if I'm the average person on the street and you say you need to go to a tertiary facility, what does that mean?
Well, Westfield's a primary. That's a
Okay.
first
First step.
first responder type facility. And then a tertiary facility is the facility that has all of the specialists. They can do
right.
all kinds of heart interventions, all kinds of casualties, and just the highest end. And then you go to something like Cleveland Clinic, who can do heart transplants.
Even higher yet?
Yes, even higher yet. And that's about the highest. You know,
Okay.
it's on the par of, I'd say, Mayo Clinic
Okay.
and places like that. So it's really, I believe we are the only hospital in Chautauqua County that has such a connection at this time.
So in a typical situation, let's say someone gets hurt, the rescue team from your local volunteer fire department does an immediate first responder kind of a thing and whisks you over to Westfield Memorial. They triage the situation, I'm assuming.
right.
I think I'm using the right terms here. And then it's determined then by those folks, the staff in the ER, we need to get you to the next level called tertiary.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. So, and as a result, we are very, very busy. There's a report card on healthcare, and you can access that on the internet, and I had underlined this, but myhealthfinder.com, and it will give you the reports of all the hospitals in Western New York. But I'd like to just say that Westfield Hospital ranked above state average